and for some inscrutable reason he decides that now is a good time to get back in touch. And that it's irrelevant to call you first. It may be his unconscious guiding him in this, Yeonjun being Yeon's friend, because he does wonder how it is with Yeonjun. Poor guy. I'm home. I'm safe. Jungkook has just run out the door, and probably left me, but hey, he answered worried question, and you can hear himself slur slightly. It was a lot left in that wine bottle. What you cries out, sounding shocked, and who wouldn't have been? What? Because of that thing with the Yeonjun? Well, Taehyung hasn't thought about it like that. Nothing happened with Yeonjun. No, I know, but... Jungkook looked furious. Did you takes a deep breath. Taehyung, are you okay? Have you been drinking? I'm not feeling great. And, yeah, I had some wine. What was that about Jungkook having left you? He has. I think we just broke up. Why the f did you do that? For you tell me. I have no idea. And then he starts to cry. Like, really, cry. Loud and messy and unfiltered, and he can't remember the last time he did something like this. He feels like if anyone would see him right now they'd fear for his mental health. Jesus, he hears you whisper in the other end. Hey, driver, can we change our location? Please. Taehyung doesn't really register what's happening next until the phone to his door beeps and he wipes his wet face and goes to answer it. It's you. Let me in, Taehyung. There's no reason to hesitate really, and he pushes the button, letting him in. He wants company. His head has gone fuzzy and numb, and it already feels a bit better now when he's been able to shut Jungkook out and knows that is coming to comfort him. He goes back to lie on the sofa, empty wine bottle on the carpet beneath, and listens as lets himself inside his flat. It doesn't take many seconds before leans over him and softly strokes his hair out of his face. Taehyung, what is happening here? Taehyung grins, trying to fixate him with his eyes, because he's not that drunk, but he's tired and confused. Thanks for coming, mate, he whispers. And that's when he sees a movement in the periphery, making him open his eyes fully, in surprise. Yeonjun leans in over your shoulder, smiling cautiously. Hey man, how are you? What a mess. Yeonjun tries and Taehyung suddenly feels wide awake. What are you doing here? He was in the cab with me, quickly explains, for him, looking a bit worried that he may have overstepped by bringing him here, and puts a soothing hand on Taehyung's chest. Insisted on coming up here with me to check on you. We just want to make sure you're okay. Oh. Well. Thanks. Again. Thanks, both of you. Both Yeonjun smiles and the gets to his feet and declares that he's going to get them some water. It's for Taehyung, Taehyung presumes, but is a diplomatic guy. I'm sorry, Taehyung, Yeonjun immediately blurts out when has left the living room. Don't, no, I mean it. Yeonjun is something desperate to his voice. And I mean it when I say forget about it. Nothing happened. We fooled around. I fooled around, Yeonjun. It was me who, don't get me wrong. I thought it was fun, but I really don't want to be the one who caused trouble between you, and don't say it. Don't say his name. Taehyung honestly doesn't know where that comes from, but he's got no interest whatsoever in talking about Jungkook right now. Yeonjun bites his lip and sits down by Taehyung's legs in the sofa. He dares to touch his lightly, friendly, and nods thoughtfully, almost curiously. As you wish. Hey, is there anything I can do? Taehyung closes his eyes and sighs. Can you guys stay here tonight? I feel like I'm going to have an anxiety attack if I'm spending the night alone. Yeonjun opens his mouth to answer just Yuam. Comes back with water. 3 full glasses. All of it for Taehyung, for sure. What's the Yuam? Asks when he puts them down on the table. I want you to stay here tonight, that's what I said. Taehyung repeats and slowly rises to a sitting position when Yuam hands over one of the glasses. I can't, Yuam says and wrinkles his eyebrows. I could put most things on hold, Taehyung, but I've gotten super early flight. Need to pack. Yeonjun squirms slightly where he now has ended up sitting next to Taehyung. I'll call Lee. Or Stan. Yuam decides and pulls up his phone. They would wanna have an update anyway. I can stay, Yeonjun says, without actually looking at Taehyung. That must be the worst idea I've ever. Yuam's words get stuck in his throat when he sees that Taehyung nods. Thanks, Yeonjun, Taehyung says. Yuam clears his throat. Taehyung, that might not be the best of ideas given what happened earlier, right? I think it's a brilliant idea if you ask me, Taehyung says light-heartedly and empties the glass. Relax, Yuam. Nothing's gonna happen, right, Yeonjun? And besides, it's bloody nice of Yeonjun offering. Honestly, Taehyung may have dozed off a minute or two because when he opens his eyes Yuam and Yeonjun is whispering to each other, standing a bit further away in the room. You realize nothing can happen. He hears Yuam say to Yeonjun, who hums in agreement and adds, of course. It won't. We were just fooling around earlier, drunken idiots. But I can promise you we are not confused about any of it, just so that you don't see this as a chance, or anything, now that Jungkook seems to have left, and so on. I said no. Yuam. Don't worry. You can trust me. I know I can trust you, mate, but I need to know that you can be trusted around Taehyung as well. You can't as much as wink at him if you think you'll be staying in his friend group, you hear me? I know. Christ. Dash off now. Just go. Yuam makes a movement to turn around and Taehyung quickly closes his eyes again, not having the strength to deal with any more nonsense right now. So instead, he listens for Yuam to walk out of the flat, and for Yeonjun to come back to the living room, where he, according to the sounds of it, slumps down in an armchair next to Taehyung. Taehyung gives it a minute before he yawns and stretches and opens his eyes. By the looks of it, Yeonjun has almost fallen asleep in an awkward position in the armchair, but he jolts to life when Taehyung moves. I'm gonna go and lie down, Taehyung says and stands up. Yeonjun reflexively stands as well. Okay. Good night, Yeonjun says and smiles tiredly. His hair is ruffled and he's cute and it does feel safe having him here. Taehyung sways a bit when the dizziness of the alcohol hits him again and Yeonjun reaches out to steady him with a hand on his arm. My bed is, like, huge, Taehyung declares and looks at Yeonjun. You'll fit in there as well. He hesitates, and Taehyung appreciates his loyalty, but he can't be bothered about playing around right now. He just wants to go to bed, and he wants Yeonjun in that bed with him. He needs something that keeps him somewhat grounded in the mess his life has become, and right now that something happens to be Yeonjun. So, he starts to walk towards his bedroom and isn't surprised to hear that Yeonjun follows suit. Surely torn between Yuam and Taehyung wills, but Taehyung is quite confident that he'll choose Taehyung. Every time. Taehyung strips off his t-shirt, which is all he's got on him except for his boxers, and gets into bed. He can pee and brush his teeth when waking up the next time, he reasons, and lets out a long, content sigh when the crisp, cool sheets engulf him. The bed dips beside him and Yeonjun gets into it as well. Fully dressed, and that's a brilliant idea. Taehyung has time to think before he falls asleep. When he wakes up the next time, it's probably in the middle of the night. Yeonjun snores lightly beside him and it's dark around them. He knows his way around though, and maneuvers to the ensuite without lighting up in the room. He does his business, washes his hands and then brushes his teeth. It feels good, and he keeps all thoughts about Jungkook. But his body is worried and his mind is working hard and he needs a distraction. Yeonjun is definitely a distraction. Or any of his friends would have been too. He just needs someone to hold on to until he's managed to cut the top of the anxiety attack. To his surprise, Yeonjun meets him in the door to the bathroom, looking utterly tired, and mumbles, "Needs to pee too." Taehyung leaves him to do his business, but when Yeonjun crawls back into bed, Taehyung pats with his hand next to himself. It's dark and Yeonjun probably doesn't see what he's doing, but he can hear it. Taehyung asks to make sure. "I need some friendly closeness. Please?" "Not feeling very well," he explains, hoping that Yeonjun gets it. Perhaps he does, perhaps he doesn't, but he moves closer to Taehyung until Taehyung's hand tells him that he's close enough, turning around and draping Yeonjun's arm around his waist. Yeonjun gets hard quite immediately and mumbles sorry, but Taehyung can't be bothered to care and just makes sure not to push back against him, falling back asleep within seconds.